Hello and welcome to another episode of the BSN Sports Podcast. Today is Friday, October 14th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Friday, October 14th here today, fresh off of the Yankees game. I'm recording this right now about 15-20 minutes after the Yankees game, so if you want to call this an instant reaction or whatever you want to call this video, you can. It's obviously a football Friday, so we'll get into the football. We'll get into the Jets. We'll get into the Giants. We'll get into the game picks. I'm going to try to keep this video, doing this video a lot later than I was hoping. 1 o'clock start. I was hoping a 4:30 ending. Instead, the game ends at like 5:15, 5:20. And I'm here right now about 20 minutes later recording this podcast. So going to be a little bit of a shorter episode similar to last week. Going to try to keep it to about 20 to 25 minutes. I want to get into the Yankees game as well to kind of start. Just a quick, just quickly touch upon it. It wasn't good. It was ugly. It was frustrating. And now the series is tied 1-1. And to kind of take a dive into it here, the Yankees did nothing offensively. I mean, that's pretty much the easiest and simplest way I could put it. I don't have to sit here and go through the numbers. I don't have to sit here and talk about Judge's 4 strikeouts and his 0 for 5 day. The Yankees didn't do anything offensively, and they had a couple opportunities. They had many opportunities at that to put across runs, and they just couldn't do it. And they lose 4-2. And we've kind of seen this trend before where the series isn't over. The season's not over, but you had an opportunity. You had many opportunities today. I wouldn't say to blow the game open, but to put up 2 or 3 more runs and make it a 4 or 5 run game, in terms of how many runs you put up. And it completely changes the complexion of the baseball game. And now you're going back to Cleveland tied 1-1. I mean, this game is a game the Yankees should have won. This isn't a game where the Guardians just outplayed them. It wasn't. This is a game where the Yankees missed out on opportunities. Guardians, did a couple good things, and that was about it. I mean, the Guardians weren't smacking the baseball all over the field. I mean, in the 10th inning when they scored their runs, Jose Ramirez hits a bloop double that Oswaldo Cabrera almost catches, and then Josh Donaldson's, trying to throw a Hail Mary to second base, gets past Gleyber Torres, and then Jose Ramirez to third, and then Gonzalez comes up and he hits a bloop single, and, Jose Ramirez scores. That was it. That was it, and then obviously had the big double, and all that stuff. Then that then that kicked in and all that. But that was the run there, and then yet another run as well. But it's inexcusable. It's a tough loss because the Yankees should have been up 2-0 in this series. And again, something about being in the postseason where the Yankees just do not, win games at times. They just don't win games that they should be winning. I mean, we've seen this countless and countless times, specifically during the Aaron Boone era, where they just don't hit. And it's almost like today was like a typical Yankee playoff performance in the past 4 or 5 years where they go out, they're flat offensively, their pitching does its job. I know Tyone came in and struggled, but it's a tough loss for the Yankees. And now you go back to Cleveland, and by the way, you might have 3 games in a row. There's no days off now. You got to get to Cleveland tonight. Rest up, get ready for tomorrow because tomorrow's a huge game. If you lose tomorrow, well, now, look, and it becomes now a best of 2. It becomes now a best 2 or 3. I mean, if the Yankees take it, bases loaded in an inning, they don't capitalize. Yankees take advantage of those opportunities. They're going back to Cleveland up 2-0, feeling real good about themselves, and they just got to find a way to win one game. And if they go into Cleveland and lose 2 of them, well, you get Game 5 back at Yankee Stadium. But you don't have that luxury anymore. You got to find a way to win one in Cleveland. Because if you don't do that, well, your season's over. So, a tough loss for the Yankees. Got to find a way to bounce back from it again. You got to have short-term memory in baseball in general, but especially in the playoffs because you got a game tomorrow. Sevy will be on the mound versus Tristan McKenzie. You hope they can bounce back, but it was just a frustrating performance, and I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. I know people say, oh, the rain delay. No. Guardians had the rain. They had to take an extra day off. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't. I mean, if anything, the extra day off, if anything, it's going to impact the pitcher the most. And Nasty went out there and, Nasty Nestor, he didn't go out there and, he wasn't dominant, but he went out there and pitched well. I mean, he did, right? I mean, he went out there and, had 5 innings, 2 runs, 3 Ks. He wasn't dominant by any means, but he did his job. when your starting pitcher goes out there and gives you 2 runs over 5 innings, you should go out, he puts you in a good spot to win. But when the only time you score runs in the bottom of the first off of a Stanton 2-run homer and you don't score anything the next 9 innings, including extra innings, and you missed a ton of opportunities, that's not a recipe for success. So a really tough loss today for the Yankees. Go back to Cleveland now, tied up 1-1, and we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out there. Got to find a way to win tomorrow. Tomorrow's big. You win tomorrow, you got Garrett Cole in the mound in Game 4, you feel really good about yourself. But tomorrow's going to be tough because Tristan McKendry dominated in the wild card game. He's been really good this season. And with the Yankees' performance today, it makes you wonder, where's this offense headed? So, tough one. Look to bounce back tomorrow. And now we get into the football and kind of get into this Football Friday podcast here. So we'll get into the games. Last night's Thursday night game was terrible. 12-7 Washington wins. It was just a bad Thursday night game. I'll tell you what, out of all the primetime games, it happens every year, but Thursday night football is atrocious. It's terrible. It isn't good. I mean, it just week after week after week, just not good teams. There never have been. It never is. Like, the only good Thursday night game is usually the first one of the season. That's usually the best one because that kicks off the NFL season. It's usually that Thursday night. Other than that, though, it's not usually that good. And you get back-to-back weeks where Russell Wilson versus Matt Ryan, Broncos-Colts couldn't do anything. And then you get Justin Fields, Carson Wentz, and neither of those offense couldn't do anything. I mean, last night was real rough. The Rangers luckily get the win, and they look great, and they put up 7 points. I mean, the Rangers had more offense than the Washington Commanders and the Bears combined. The Rangers scored the same amount of touchdowns the Bears did, putting up 7 points, which was great to see. But, yeah, so I did get the game pick right last night. I picked Washington to win, so I got that correct. So with last night's victory, I now find myself at 47-34 overall. I came into the week 46-34 with yesterday's pick being right. I get 43-34, and a little extra nugget is I'm 5-1 this season on Thursday Night Football. So other than last week was the only week where I picked it wrong. I picked the Broncos over the Colts. Colts obviously won last week, so I was wrong about that. But other than that, I am 5-1 this season through 6 weeks of Thursday Night Football. So although the matchups have been really bad, I have picked them to a very, very high percentage right now at 5-1. So hopefully that continues. We'll see how that goes the rest of the way. But let's get into the games here. So we got 49ers, and again, this is going to be like last week. I'm kind of just going to, give you the over-under, give you the spread, tell you who's going to win, and kind of go with that. We got 49ers, Falcons, 49ers 3-2, Falcons 2-3. 49ers 4.5-point favorites, over-under set at 45, 1 Eastern on Fox. I'm going to take the 49ers here. Like what they're doing with Garoppolo. Falcons defense, not very good. Give me the Niners. I'm going to take a relatively low-scoring game. Niners win 23-13. I'll take the under and the over-under 45. I think the Niners get the job done and cover the 4.5. We got Bengals, Saints. Bengals 2-3, Saints 2-3. Bengals 3-point favorites, over-under set at 43. 1 Eastern on CBS. Protect Joe Burrow. That's the biggest question coming into this game, and really the biggest question this season for the Bengals. Coming off a tough loss against Baltimore, the Saints, still, with the whole Winston and Dalton situation, we'll see how all that plays out, how that affects them. But I'm going to take the Bengals here. I think they're just a better team. I think the Bengals are going to be fired up. They're going to be, they're going to be angry after last week's performance. You give Burrow time in the pocket, he's going to step up and make plays. Give me the Bengals in this game, 27-17. Bengals get the win. I'll take the under on the over, or take the over on the over-under 43, and I think the Bengals cover the 3 points. Steelers, Buccaneers 3-2, 9.5-point favorites. Steelers sit at 1-4, and their season really being in jeopardy right now. Over-under set at 46, 1 Eastern on Fox. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I'm going to take them big. I like their defense against Kenny Pickett. Give me the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. 31-14 Bucs win. I'll take the over on the over, or under on the over-under 46, and then the Bucs cover the 9.5 pretty easily. We got the Jaguars, Colts. Colts 2-1, Jaguars 2-3, Colts 2.5-point favorites at home, fresh off their Thursday night victory against Denver last week. Over-under set at 42, 1 Eastern on CBS. I think Trevor Lawrence and his turnover situation right now that has plagued them the past couple weeks, I think the Jaguars bounce back. I think they're going to be pretty fired up. Tough loss against the Eagles, lose last week against Houston. I like the Jaguars. I like their offense to have a redemption game against Indy. Give me the Jaguars on the road to get back up to 500. Trevor Lawrence bounces back. Jaguars win 24-21. Close, but Jaguars get the job done on the road. Jaguars plus 2.5. I'll take the over on the over-under 42, and the Jaguars plus 2.5. They get the win. Browns, Patriots. Browns 2-3. Patriots 2-3. Browns 2.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 43.5. 1 Eastern on CBS. I'm going to take the Browns here. Nick Chubb in the running attack. Again, another team coming off a really, really tough loss where they blow the 14-point lead against the Chargers. Browns are one of those teams where these are the type of games for them where they're just trying to keep their head above water. They're at home. New England comes into town. Bailey Zappi. Let's see what he can do. But I'm going to take Jacoby Brissett, Nick Chubb, and the Browns. Their defense is going to get to the Patriots offense at home. Give me Cleveland. Low scoring 17-10 Browns win. Under on the over-under of 43.5. And Cleveland gets the job done. They cover the 2.5 points. Give me the Browns by a touchdown. Vikings, Dolphins. Vikings 4-1. Dolphins 3-2. Vikings 3-point favorites. Over-under set at 45.5. 1 Eastern on Fox. I'm going to take the Vikings here. Dolphins coming off a tough loss last week against the Jets. I don't think they'll fully be able to recover. You hear, throughout the week, the whole ping pong table situation and all that stuff. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna take the Vikings here. I like the Vikings here. I like their offense better. The Dolphins with Skylar Thompson, or whoever's playing quarterback. Give me Minnesota on the road to take down a Dolphins team. Big question in this game is, can the Vikings stop the Dolphins' rushing attack, which last week was the biggest part of their offense? I'm going to take the Vikings and their more talented offense right now. Give me the Vikings. 31-21 Vikings win. Over on the over-under 45.5, and then the Vikings cover the 3 points at home. We go to the 4 o'clock window on Fox. Cardinals, Seahawks. Cardinals 2-3. Seahawks 2-3. Cardinals 2.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 50.5. I think this is a shootout. I think this is actually a pretty entertaining game. Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. I don't think we thought we'd be saying that in Week 6 of the NFL season, but we are. I'm going to take Arizona here. Something about the Cardinals away from home. I think they're going to come out with a lot of energy coming off of last week's really, really tough loss where they obviously Matt Amendola misses the kick against the Eagles. You have a chance to force overtime against a then 4-0 Eagles team that's now 5-0, obviously, as they await the Cowboys on Sunday night. But give me the Cardinals at home on the road to get the win. They've been a much better road team this year, and more specifically, Kyler Murray has been much better on the road. And again, that missed field goal last week with, as time expired, that is a sour taste in their mouth. They think Arizona's going to come out with a little bit extra energy. Give me Arizona, high scoring 31-27. Arizona gets the win. Over on the over-under of 50.5, and I think Arizona just covers the 2.5, and Kyler Murray picks up another road win. The other 4 o'clock window here, two more 4 o'clock games, starting with this one on Fox. Rams 10-point favorites against Carolina. Rams 2-3, Carolina 1-4. Over/under set at 41.5. Look, I think this is a game. This is going to be a good old fashioned, get right game for the Rams. I really do believe that. You know how I feel about get right games. I don't always believe in them because I think every week's a different challenge. But this, personally, the whole Baker Mayfield injury situation, I understand Carolina fired Matt Rule on Monday, and I know, they might come out in this game. They might come out with a little extra energy. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is close early on, if it's like 3-3, 7-3, Carolina gets the ball first, goes down the field and score. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think LA, they're just more talented. Look, they're struggling, but it's the Panthers. They're one of the worst teams in the league right now. You can't tell me you're going to go out there and struggle against Carolina. Again, I think this is a get-right game. I think it's close early on, but LA at home, they're gonna separate quickly. Give me the Rams, big 31-10. Under on the over-under 41.5, and in the Rams cover the 10 by a big margin, 21-point victory for the Rams. Probably the best game of the day. Bills-Chiefs, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Bills 4-1, Chiefs 4-1. Bills a slight 2.5-point favorite. Over/under set at 54. Man, oh man, Buffalo against Kansas City. The rematch of last year's AFC divisional round. This is going to be an exciting game. I'm going to take Buffalo here. I think the Bills, I've said it, I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. I predicted at the beginning of the season. I'll continue to say that. I like the Bills. I like what they're doing. They're coming off a good old-fashioned beatdown against Pittsburgh. Their offense looked legit. Gabe Davis is in a rhythm right now. I like Buffalo. The only concern is their secondary's banged up, but surprisingly, and again, their secondary's been good. The Bills' secondary, even though, they've been really hurt, it hasn't been bad. It hasn't really hurt them. In the games that they've been 2-1 through this stretch of their secondary's been banged up for about 3 of the 5 weeks of the season. Their only loss comes against Miami, and they lost that game not because of their secondary. They lost it because time management a little bit, just not enough time, some missed opportunities on offense. That's the reason they lost it. They then went on the road against Baltimore, in which their defense was incredible in the second half, and then they beat the Steelers last week where they didn't allow a touchdown and their offense dominated. So I don't actually think this secondary is really an issue. Yes, it's hurt, but it hasn't been the issue. They're still winning games. They still find themselves at 4-1. Give me Buffalo going into Kansas City. They're going to be motivated. They walked off that field last year frustrated. They walked off that field last year in disbelief. Give me Buffalo with a big statement win on the road. Buffalo with the road victory, 31-28, game winner by Tyler Bass. Field goal wins it for the Bills. They give the Chiefs a little bit of their taste of their own medicine with a give me the Bills, fourth quarter comeback and a game-winning kick by Tyler Bass. 31-28, Buffalo wins. Over on the over-under 54, and I think the Buffalo just covers the 2.5-point favorites. And the closeout Sunday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC, we got the Eagles, the only undefeated team left in football, the only team with a 0 left on their record. All the other, there's no more winless teams, and they're the only undefeated team left. The Texans last week with the win removed the goose egg from their win column. The Eagles are the only team left with a goose egg left in their record, and it's on the good side of the column. It's not on the win. It's not on the win column. It's on the loss column. They're 5-0. Cowboys 4-1. More importantly, though, 4-0 under Cooper Rush. Now, Dak is questionable for this game, but it does seem as if Cooper Rush is going to play. He's been rolling. He's been going. Eagles 6.5-point favorites. Over under 42. 8:20 p.m. Eastern, NBC. What a time to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Let's be real here. It really is. Phillies right now are winning 6-0 as we speak. Bryce Harper, big homer. Reese Hoskin, big homer. Brandon Marsh, double. They're winning 6-0. They very well could take a 2-run series lead and win the NLDS tomorrow. And then you got Sunday Night Football with the Eagles, and they're 5-0. You got the Flyers who win opening night last night for them. Although I don't think the Flyers are going to be very good this year, but still they won opening night. If you're a Philadelphia fan right now, Philadelphia, New York, a lot more success right now. Rangers are doing good. Jets, Giants doing good. Yankees do lose today, but they're still in the playoffs. A lot of positives right now when you talk about Philly and you talk about New York. To be honest with you, this has been a pick I've been going back and forth about. I don't know really. I haven't really. All day I've been going back and forth about this because do I ride with the Cooper Rush bandwagon and just say, look, he's 4-0. He went on the road last week and beat the Rams. Why can't he go on the road again and beat the Eagles? I mean, he's beaten good teams. It's not like he's beaten these bad teams. He beat the Bengals, went on the road and beat the Giants, beat the Commanders, and went on the road and beat the Rams too. And, this is a opportunity for you look at this Cowboys team. They win this game, there's a good chance they go into the bye week at 7-1. There really is. Because their next two opponents are Detroit and Chicago, and both of them are at home. There's a real good chance if the Dallas Cowboys win this game, they go into the bye week 7-1. There's a real good chance. So this is a big game. Now, if they lose this game, they might go into the bye week, 6-2 or 6-2 probably, because they should beat Detroit and Chicago, especially at home. But if the Cowboys win this game, look, they all of a sudden become a true threat in a division. And the Eagles will have a bye week after this, so the Eagles have an opportunity to go into their bye week undefeated, and they come out of their bye week with Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Indy, 4 very winnable games. So, look, I'm still up in the air about this. 62% of people actually think the Cowboys are going to win. Look, I'm gonna as much as deep down inside, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to ride with the Cooper Rush bandwagon. Give me the Cowboys on the road. Cooper Rush continues, gets to 5-0 on the season. Give me the Cowboys. Road upset against the Eagles. 24-23. Field goal wins it. Cowboys win. Over on the over-under of 42. Cowboys plus 6.5 on the road. Get the victory at Lincoln Financial Field. And put a loss in the Eagles' loss column, and the Eagles suffer their first loss. Deep down inside, I think the Eagles are going to win. But I'm going to roll with the Cowboys and Cooper Rush because why jump off the bandwagon now? I'm not on the bandwagon. I'm not telling you I'm rooting for Cooper Rush. I think it's pretty wild. It's fun to see. It's fun to watch. It's like chaos. Because now let's just say he wins this game. Let's just say he goes on the road and beats Philly, and that's just another check. Check. Like last week it was the Rams, and everybody's saying, oh, he can't do it. Checked off that box. Now, if he checks off this box, it's like, all right, that's 5-0, and you got Detroit and Chicago. You know what, Dak? We're going to give you 3 more weeks off. We're going to give you the 2 off against Chicago and Detroit. We're going to give you the bye week, and then maybe you can come back. Things really would get interesting. But now we go to the Giants. Ravens, Ravens 3-2, Giants 4-1. Ravens 5.5-point favorites, over under set at 45.5. 1 Eastern on CBS. Look, this is an interesting game because this is a Ravens team this season that's obviously had some really interesting performances. They go out week 1, play well against the Jets. They lose week 2 where their defense was terrible against the Dolphins. They win week 3. They lose week 4 where their offense stalled in the second half. And then their offense was dominant in week 3. Then week 4, their offense stalled in the second half. And then they get the win last week where their offense wasn't phenomenal. It was really their defense. It's been a weird couple of weeks where it's kind of just been up and down, up and down, up and down. And they lose that Bills game too because they tried to go for it on 4th down in the red zone. It's been a weird couple weeks. You look at their record on the outside, you say, oh, it's 3-2. But when you really take a deep dive into it, there's a real chance they could be 4-1, 5-0 if things go a little bit differently. That's kind of how weird they're. I feel like there hasn't been a game yet this year where Baltimore has played a full 60 minutes of just good complementary football. There's always been a side of the ball that has struggled. There really always has been. It's weird. Even week 1 against the Jets, even though they won by 15, their offense wasn't phenomenal. I mean, it was 2 big plays. That was about it. Then week 2, their defense was terrible. Week 3, I guess you could say week 3 maybe was an all-around victory. Week 4, their offense stalled. And then last week, their defense was pretty good and their offense was So it's what are we going to see? Is this a breakout game where they're just going to go out and put up 41 and crush the Giants? It's Wink Martindale against his former team. I actually think the Giants have the advantage there. I'm going to roll with the Giants. They're at home, MetLife. Wink Martindale, former team, knows the system, knows the scheme. I'm going to roll with the Giants. Give me the Giants to get to 5-1. Giants win 27-23. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take the over on the over-under of 45.5. And I think the Giants get the win plus 5.5. Look, they're battling. They're fighting and they're winning. And that's really all that matters. Now we go to the Jets-Packers. Packers 3-2. Jets 3-2. Packers 7.5-point favorites, 1 Eastern on Fox. Over-under set at 45.5. Packers 7.5-point favorites. Look, 92% of people think Green Bay wins this game. And that's been the way it's been for a while. People still don't believe in this Jet team. There's a lot of people picking against them. This Jet team has been road warriors. Again, I'm not overly optimistic about this game, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. Give me the Jets. All right? I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. Look, they've been road warriors. They have been. And there's got to be a time where us as Jets fans got to start to expect these good performances, right? And I wasn't overly optimistic last week, and I stated that on the show. So I feel pretty good. I feel decent about this game, and I'll go more into it in my In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. But I'm going to take the Jets here. Road Warriors, Zach Wilson on the road. I look at this as, and this isn't a knock on the Giants. It's more of a knock on, I guess, the Packers in a way, but I don't even want to call it a knock on either team. The Giants are a team that's, Jets are more talented than the Giants. There's no doubting. Yes, the Giants are 4-1, but when you look at the roster from top to bottom, the Jets have more talent. Like, if Brian Daboll had the Jets roster, and this is more of a credit also to Daboll. Saleh's been great. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying how well Daboll has also done. Like, I'm just using this example as like the Packers game as well. Like, this Giants team, they went on, they beat Green Bay, and I don't want to hear, it was in London and all that. I don't want to hear that. Okay, they won and they beat Green Bay, and they beat Rodgers, and nobody saw it coming. So I'm gonna take the Jets, and I also get this feeling in Green Bay where you hear guys like Jair Alexander say, "Oh, if we lose next week, we're really in big trouble." I kind of get that feeling where it's like they're doubting us. They're gonna come into this game and they're gonna kind of take us lightly, and the Jets might come in and kind of knock them around a little bit. I really kind of see that being a possible scenario here. So give me the Jets, Lambeau Field. I know a lot of Jet fans are making the trip. There's going to be a lot of noise coming from the Jets fans. It's not an easy place to play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park, but they've been road warriors. They've won 2 road games where, we really thought for a lot of it, they might not win at all. They're 3-2. It's time to start expecting some of these performances from the Jets. Give me the Jets. 24-20, Jets get the win. I'll take the under on the over-under 45.5, and then the Jets plus 7.5. Road Warriors continue. Give me the Jets. Some good college football games on as well this season. A lot to look forward to there, along with playoff baseball. And now we go to fantasy. And last night, it was terrible. I had Carson Wentz going in a couple leagues. I had Curtis Samuel. I had Terry McLaurin. Keenan Allen right now, he is limited in Thursday's practice. We'll know more about him coming up here. I'm benching Clyde Edwards-Helaire in one of my leagues, and I'm actually starting Keenan Allen over him. Although if Keenan Allen's out, Helaire could very well be a flex option. Even a guy like a Tony Pollard could also be a flex option who has done well. He's actually done really well. Other than the 1 week against Washington in week 4, he put up 19, put up 10, put up 14. So Cooper Rush has found a way to get him the ball. His biggest points this season have come in the 4 games with Cooper Rush. 3 of them have been in double digits. So he's a possible option. It's weird. Broncos receivers continue to be up there, even with the struggles. Courtland Sutton's, the least amount of points he's put up this season was 11. And it's weird. It's crazy to think that, but it's been a lot of catches. 4 catches, 7 catches, 8 catches, 5 catches. You get a receiver that's going to get you around 5-6 catches a week, you're going to be in a good spot. Courtland Sutton does that. Jerry Jeudy's a little more boom bust, but he's also an option there as well. I like Tyler, Conklin, Schultz. The one thing I will tell you about this Cowboys offense with under Cooper Rush is Dalton Schultz is not getting utilized nearly enough. And some of it could be the injury. Some of it could be just the fact that Cooper Rush just doesn't get him the ball a lot. I don't know what it is, but he hasn't really been as much of a factor as we've expected and as much of a factor as he is, really when Dak's out there. He's had a total of 14 points this year, and he's had 1 point in the 4 weeks Cooper Rush has been the quarterback. To be fair, one of those weeks he missed, but he's had 1 point in 4 weeks, and he's had 4 targets. He hasn't done anything. Now, the one game with Dak, he had 13 points. He hasn't done anything with Cooper Rush. So I'm going to bench Schultz. I don't believe at all in Schultz. I don't believe at all. So if you're looking for a guy, Darren Waller's on a bye week. That's a big tight end hole. If you're looking for a guy, Conklin's out there. Gerald Everett. Hayden Hurst, although he's questionable, he's an option. Again, big thing there is, the pressure on Burrow. They might have to get the ball to Hayden Hurst. They might have to rely a lot more on those short routes, and I think that's why his production has gone up the past 2 weeks is because the protection hasn't been very good on Burrow, and especially last week where they had to get him the ball a lot because Burrow didn't have the time to get the ball deep to his receivers. He had to go shorter to guys like Hayden Hurst. He had a ton of catches. He had 11 to be exact, 6 to be exact last week, 53 yards and a touchdown. Back-to-back weeks with a touchdown. Hayden Hurst is also an example there as bye weeks start to kick in as well. So look out. Gabe Davis, another guy too, I would definitely recommend starting. And then you got your obvious, I do have J.K. Dobbins starting right now. Could you possibly go Thielen? You definitely can. The only thing with Thielen is he's had out of this season so far, he's had 2 really good weeks, 1 week, and 2 really bad weeks. He had 9 points to 1 week, which I consider 9 points. It's not bad, but it's not terrible. It's average. It's all right. It's okay. I should just leave it at that. He had 18 and 15, which is really good. And then 6 and 6 is just, he had 6.6 and he had 6.7. That's terrible. So he's also an option there too. Miami, their secondary, not very good. It's been a little banged up as well. He could be an option there as well, so we'll see. So that's your fantasy advice, and that's your Football Friday podcast. So looking forward to the weekend. Enjoy all the sports. Yankees, Guardians, games 3, games 4, Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully it's not needed, but if needed, Game 5 will be Monday. I know Yankee Stadium, Game 5, all that sounds great, but I would rather them just win these 2 games, move on to the ALCS, and get ready for most likely what is going to be another Houston, ALCS. Looks like it's going to be Houston again, unless if Seattle comes back from down 3-0. We shall see. But enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the hockey. Enjoy all the sports. It's October. Great time of year for this stuff. Enjoy it. And as always, I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.